we do have some news in the sort of Mandalorian universe, as it were. I guess it kind of counts as the Mandalorian universe. Now, this is a good source. I will say this is a good source. MakingStarWars.net has been on it with everything, and they've been very good with everything. So you really, realistically, looking at their track record, you don't have much of a reason to doubt them when they say that they've got the exclusive and stuff. They are very good. Their track record is very good. Obi-Wan Kenobi, they were down on. They knew everything about that, and Mandalorian, etc. They've known about. So exclusive, Ivana Sakno is Shin in Star Wars Ahsoka. Now, I don't know anything about this stuff. Like, I've got no idea. So we're just going to take a look at the article, and then there's more stuff as well. So there's like Thrawn and stuff like that, and stormtroopers in Ahsoka. So it's all about Ahsoka, but obviously it's the Mandalorian universe that they're building out of. So who is Shin? Because obviously, like me, if you are just a casual fan, you're probably like, what the hell is that? And also, we've got 425 people here. Thank you so much for joining. This is a regular live stream. We call it the H-Cast now. Just a quick, easy title. Same time each week, Tuesday and Thursday. Please do join again and hit that thumbs up button.
However, Nate. However, Nate, only 177 likes. That's woke math. We don't do woke math here. 425 people in the chat. You got to do two things right now. Smash the like and make sure you're subscribed to both our channels, this one and the archives channel. Do it right now, please. Thank you.
Love it. So who is Shin? Like, I've got no idea who this is, right? So let's look at the article, because if, like me, you'll go, well, who is this? If you've been following the recent stories that Making Star Wars has dropped on Thrawn, Lars Mikkelsen, you've read a ton of implication that Thrawn has some kind of undead or rebuilt army under his command on the Chimera. Yes, the Chimera. So that's Thrawn's command ship. He's going to be in Star Wars Ahsoka. And apparently, he's going to have an undead army. Interesting. In Ahsoka. MakingStarWars.net has recently broken stories about Balon, the second in command, played by Ray Stevenson. But who is Balon, and who is this assassin of his? So just yesterday, Bespin Bulletin dropped a confirmation that Mary Elizabeth Winstead is playing Hera in Star Wars Ahsoka. They believe that they are correct, as always. And with that punch to the face, let me give you a kick in the shin. So Ivana Sakno is Shin. Several sources have confirmed to MakingStarWars.net that Ivana Sakno is playing a new character named Shin. Shin is an apprentice of Balon, a Force user who has embraced the dark side, probably in allegiance with the Night Sisters. So she's cold, calculated, and desperate to prove herself to her Jedi Master. What Jedi Master? But also, like, it's a Force user that's embraced the dark side, but is going to prove herself to a Jedi Master? This sounds very complicated. As an average Star Wars fan, that sounds very complicated to me. But all right, who are they? Sources have implied a story in which a survivor of Order 66, a Jedi named Balon, fled to his unknown region of the galaxy for safety. Sources think Balon wanted to maintain the Jedi way, but was corrupted over time, maybe from the influence of life with the Night Sisters. Shin herself may be a former Night Sister. Sometime around Return of the Jedi, before the series takes place, Balon takes Shin on as his apprentice, and somehow Balon and Thrawn become allied, and Shin is tasked to hunt and kill Ahsoka Tano. So this is interesting, because they're having to bring external people into the universe, I guess, now to build out this Ahsoka story to make it worthwhile. So, of course, Ahsoka actually grew up fighting off characters like Ventress, so it is doubtful Shin will challenge Ahsoka too much, and this will bring Balon out into a larger conflict with Tano herself. So the subtleties of the backstory may differ when we get to the final version of Star Wars Ahsoka, and all the supplementary material in publishing begins. This, however, is my understanding of the simple backstory that seems to have been used during production to inform the script and motivations. These characters are a mystery to Ahsoka at first, and she will learn about them as the episodes unfold. So a bit of a mystery thing, I guess. I just do not know to what extent and how much exposition will inform us about them on screen. What do you think? Because that sounds bloody terrible to me.
Well, first of all, I'm disappointed that this is not about Godzilla, because I wasn't paying that much attention. And when I saw Shin, I'm like, ooh, Godzilla. No, it's Star Wars. I don't care.
Yeah, but come on. You have an opinion on it. Like
honestly, like, you want my honest opinion? Like, yeah, it sounds fucking convoluted as fuck. I'm not an EU person. I'm not going to say I'm not a fan of it. I'm just not an EU person. So I don't know all these side characters to get all excited about them or get pissed off if they sound like they're doing something wrong. So both ways, I really can't comment on that. But yeah, this is just, we're getting so far from things that I give a shit about now that if they were actually making good Star Wars, maybe I'd be excited to see what they got next. But that's where I'm at. I'm just kind of like, I really don't give a shit. Like, I probably really would have finished and been more excited for Andor had the other stuff been good. And then, you know, I even said after those 3 episodes, I was like, you know, we'd be, you know, going on about how this is, you know, something fresh and different and a different perspective and a different way of telling stories in the Star Wars universe. Unfortunately, we're sitting here saying, well, this is the best of what we had so far, aside from The Mandalorian. And that ain't saying much, because The Mandalorian, looking back on it, feels like, you know, we're kind of like just abused lovers that are finally accepting the fact that our lover didn't beat us today. He only shoved us around a little bit. You know, like, that's a good day, evidently. And I hate to, you know, equate, you know, physical violence or domestic violence with something like Star Wars, because they're not the same thing. But I have equated the whole thing with a relationship before. And that's kind of where I am with Star Wars. Like, after The Last Jedi, I'm like, that's it. We're done. Right? There's no going back. Sure, we may see each other at the mall or in the grocery store once in a while, but that doesn't mean we have to fucking say hi. You know?
Yeah, true.
But no, so I'm sorry for going on that long diatribe. I listened to everything you said, and you lost me somewhere around Kylo Ren.
I didn't even mention Kylo Ren, but that's understandable.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, no,
or whatever. When I found out it wasn't about Godzilla, I'll be honest, the first sentence.
It was Balon that you heard, not
Balon. That's what I meant. Yeah, whatever.
You know, like I think, just to throw in my 2 cents here, like, and it mirrors yours, to be fair, is that there's a lot of stuff that they're having to do, and a lot of it's member berries. The problem I have with these Star Wars shows and the movies as well is the member berries. It's very ham-fisted. Member berries work. Actually, member berries can be very, very good in a show, in a movie, in whatever. But it's when it's not ham-fisted, you know. It's when it's organically, it's authentically, and it you know, it legitimizes itself within the show. But a lot of this stuff, like, to even have a show about Ahsoka, they're having to pull loads of people in from fucking everywhere and be like, well, this is a Jedi, but actually he's not a Jedi, he's corrupted, so maybe he's a Jedi. But then also there's this dark side user, and it just gives me a headache. Like, it's a lot of nonsense. And I will say this, I really don't like how Ahsoka is everywhere.
Well, that's where I was talking about the Filoni-ness of it, right? Like, he's obsessed with her.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably got a blow-up doll of her that he fucks.
I'm not surprised if he does.
I honestly, I know a bit crass there, but I hands down believe he has some bizarre infatuation with this individual that he made, which is pretty clear as day. I mean, Paulie, what do you think? I mean, you're probably as, you know, similar to you know, my outlook on a lot of this stuff with Star Wars.
Yes and no. Here's the final frontier, and they've been starting to do this.
Star Trek reference, talking about Star Wars. I like it.
Come on. Which is the EU, and one of the most beloved characters is Thrawn, and it has been for decades.
Yeah.
And Filoni made Thrawn look like an idiot in Rebels.
Yeah.
If anyone's read the books and then seen Rebels, it's like, that is not Thrawn. So this is even before the current regime. So that's scary too. You know, I'm talking to a couple of people in the chat that I know that are EU fans, big time. Soul Assassin, he's not excited at all, and it's bad cherry picking. That's what's going on. So you're gonna have a couple of cool little member berries at the best on decent shows, probably on mediocre shows. like Book of Boba Fett, and I liked Book of Boba Fett. I'm gonna say it right now. I don't want to get into it right now because we're gonna, I don't want to fight.
No one's gonna fight you. Right?
But what I can say, guys, is there was very few memorable highlights from Book of Boba Fett, and one of them was we got to see Cad Bane, and that was a great look. It was, a lot of people liked it, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Thrawn in the books was just. I'm not looking forward to this. I like Dawson's AHSOKA. The thing with Thrawn, we really need those Heir of the Empire books to be told in films. But the thing is, I don't want Disney to tell them. So this is not a good situation. So for EU fans, yeah, no, I know. Of course, he wasn't the same. Thrawn is not the same as in the EU version. In Rebels, he was an idiot, And yeah, OG Star Wars is great. She's got a great channel, but
that's the thing is I think they're kind of in a no-win scenario now, Paul. Are they not?
It's a no-win scenario. I agree. Yes.
Yeah.
Because if you're an EU fan, unless you accept whatever they're giving you, at least whether it's a watered-down version, an alternate version, what have you, then it's still never going to be enough. There's nothing they can do now to fix that. They've tossed it out the window. And that's kind of where, I've come to, I don't want to say butting heads, but it has come to terms like, well, I don't know what you guys want to do. I mean, you can either enjoy what is good or you can just reject it all because you're an EU fanatic and that's what you are. And I'm not trying to put anybody down who is, but I'm just saying you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't blame others if they're going to like something that may not necessarily line up with the canon, because like it or leave it, life moves on without the EU one way or the other, whether it's going to cherry pick from it or not at this point. You either just have to accept it and get past it or whatever. I mean, it's not healthy for anybody for people to be hung up on this for so long, because it ain't coming back. And there's not going to be some cataclysmic thing to change that anytime soon. Not that I know of. Yeah. Regardless of what anybody said about, the veil of the Force and stuff like that. Favreau has said things to let me believe that they cannot retcon things. Like, it's not even a choice.
Don't reference Doomcock.
Well, I'm just saying. And it's not just Doomcock who has said that, though. Plenty of others.
I'm going to push back because the one solace that EU fans have is that they haven't meddled with a lot of their beloved. I'm trying to ignore that beloved characters, but that's just not the case anymore. I mean, why shouldn't they hold on? That's not right.
No, I think there's we copped flack for our 2023 video and saying, oh, we're looking forward to these things. And this is the problem, is that when people get to there's a difference between being a realist and naive and an over level of cynicism and realism. There are genuinely some things to look forward to, and I think as a fan you do hold out hope more so than sometimes past the point of realism, and sometimes it does verge on naivety. But I think it is good to hold out hope, because otherwise you just become a cynical old bastard. And I think you should have hope that some things are going to be all right, like at a certain point. Because some of the Star Wars stuff is pretty good. I liked Andor, and I don't care if anyone doesn't like it. I liked it. I thought it was pretty decent. Did everything I wanted it to do. It was great. I'm looking forward to, Mandalorian's a highlight. I remember being on Midnight's Edge, and it was me and Andre saying how much we liked it at the start against, pretty much everyone else. And we were like, yeah, this is great. This is bloody brilliant. There are some good things, like holding out, some hope doesn't automatically fall into naivety. And I think there's a fine line between being, a realist and cynical. So